Okay, so let's say, for example, that we had the function f of x equals x squared plus 1, and the function g of x equals square root of x. If you were asked to find f composed with g of x and its domain, okay, let's see what you would get. First, you would take f of, the inner function would be g of x in this case, but g of x is the square root of x. So you would say, okay, well, I'm plugging into f just the square root of x. Now, our original function f is x squared plus 1. Remember to think of this as a box instead of the x. So we're taking whatever's plugged in and we're squaring it and adding 1 to it. So in this case, what's in the box is the square root of x. So we're going to square it and add 1 to it. So we get square root of x squared plus 1. Square root of x squared plus 1. What's the square root of x squared? X plus 1, right? So we would say, okay, my new function, f composed with g of x, is just x plus 1. And if I just look at that, I would have to conclude that my domain includes all real numbers. And I would be wrong. Why would I be wrong? Because when I simplified square root of x squared, I forgot about the fact that I was taking the square root of x before I squared it. And what kinds of numbers can we not take the square root of? Negative numbers. So when I simplified like that, I was making a big assumption. I was making the assumption that it made sense to take the square root. In other words, that x was greater than or equal to 0. Yes? So I would be absolutely incorrect to say my domain is all real numbers. You always have to go back and look at the inner function before you simplified and see if there were any values of x that you just weren't allowed to use, period, from the get-go. Okay? And so you would actually have to say that the domain is what in interval notation? Yeah, 0 to infinity. We're allowed to take the square root of 0, by the way, so you can have a bracket there. All right, so always check your inner function's domain and make sure that if there are any values you should have left out that you didn't, you need to exclude them.
I hope you found this video useful. If you did, please remember to like it.